Now, we all know that J. Robert Oppenheimer is the subject of Christopher Nolan's next film, Oppenheimer, which, to my understanding, will be about his life, his involvement in the Manhattan Project, the creation of the atom bomb, and the after effects of the two atom bombs that hit Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Now, I don't know if the film will be talking about this in full detail, but there is a connection between Oppenheimer and the Bhagavad Gita. Even though J. Robert Oppenheimer was not a Hindu by birth, he was highly influenced by the Bhagavad Gita and was an ardent reader of the book. Such an ardent reader that when he first read the book in 1933, he learned the Sanskrit language to read the book in its original form. Now, according to historians and people that knew him at the time, one of the gifts that he would always give to family and friends was an English copy of the book so that people could read the book that he considers as one of the most influential in his whole entire life. So influential to his whole entire life that he apparently brought a copy with him almost everywhere. And when he was working on the Manhattan Project, by the way, was where they created the atom bomb. Apparently, one of the books that he would always have with him was the Bhagavad Gita. And if he went into his office or his room, there was always a copy of the Bhagavad Gita with him. Now, this is one of the most historically well-known TV interviews in news history. And this was the reaction that J. Robert Oppenheimer had after the bombs were dropped in Japan. He regretted his decision of making the atom bomb and cited the Bhagavad Gita in this interview. Now, famously in the TV interview, he quoted from the book in his own words, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." But this is the quote that he's citing from the Bhagavad Gita. Now, if you've seen the clip of that TV interview, you see the sorrow, the pain, and the shock that J. Robert Oppenheimer had because of the destruction, the despair, and the deaths that were caused because of his creation at Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And pretty much he regretted his decision of making the bombs and would go on for the rest of his life regretting the fact that he created the atom bomb. And interestingly enough, a lot of historians and a lot of scholars have cited that when J. Robert Oppenheimer was reading the book, apparently he likened himself to Arjuna. And one of those historians and scholars, James A. Hygia, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, he cited that Arjuna and Oppenheimer almost likened to each other in terms of their, situation in history. And here is a little excerpt that I found in an article on the India Economic Times. If you follow this channel, you know that I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, so I'm very much excited for Oppenheimer once it comes out this summer. And it'll be very interesting to see if Christopher Nolan does highlight this fact about Oppenheimer's life. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't know about this about him and just know that he quoted the Bhagavad Gita, but a lot of people don't know the massive influence that it had on his life. And again, historians and scholars have cited that apparently Bhagavad Gita was one of the main reasons why he created the atom bomb in the first place. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see if Nolan does talk about this in the film. Regardless, I'm very much hyped for the movie. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see until July 21st. But until then, this is a little historical fact and lesson about Oppenheimer's connection to Bhagavad Gita. And if you knew about this, this is a little refresher for you before you watch the movie on July 21st.